Hi, my name is Kristin. This is Kristin Kraves Books. It has been a minute since I filmed a book haul, and my birthday was on June 1st, and my friends and family know that the quickest way to my heart is either gift cards to bookstores or books off my Amazon wish list. And actually a few of my friends and family bought me gifts that are book related items, but I might show those in a separate video. I'm thinking of maybe doing favorites videos once in a while, so today I'm just going to focus on all the books that I received for my birthday or used gift cards or treated myself to. So there's quite a few here, and I'm going to start with the two that I've already read, and these are books I had arcs of but love so much that I needed for my shelves, and they're both romance. So the first one I don't think is going to be any surprise, and that is You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Quickie Emezi. I think I talk about a Quickie Emezi in every video, but this is a Quickie Emezi's first romance, and I hope that they continue to write in that genre because this was so unique. This is such a messy romance. I recommended not reading the back because I didn't, because I just knew that I love this author. I love romance in general. This cover screams summer to me, so I just went into it with an open mind and very little knowledge of what it is about, and I was so floored by the direction that the romance went. And I think it's going to be a divisive book. I say this all the time, but I absolutely adored it. I initially gave it 4 stars, but as time has gone by, I gave it a 5. So happy to have this on my shelves. One I will actually reread, I believe, because it's not very long, and it'll be fun to read it now, going into it not as surprised by it. And then I had to get my favorite romance of all time. I had an e-arc of this in November, but this just came out I think in April, and this is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I think it's everything that I wish book lovers was. This is actually like the small town trope, but it doesn't do it in like an overly cliche way. And Part of Your World is sort of a reference to Little Mermaid. I almost forgot what that was called. To Little Mermaid, because it is about 2 characters from very different worlds, and she works in a hospital in a big city, and he runs like a B&B in a small town, and they have an instant connection, but forces are kind of pulling them apart. But it's so sweet. There's so many great side characters in this small town, some great farm animals and animals in general. Abby Jimenez always does a great job of adding some more serious tones into her books. So there are trigger warnings for domestic violence and domestic emotional abuse as well in here, but it's so well handled. I always trust Abby Jimenez with those topics. So yeah, my favorite romance of all time, hands down, and I love everything she writes. And I love that book so much, I just have to show you this. I think I showed this in the past, but this is a bookmark, and the creator is Steph's Book Therapy. She has an Etsy. I'm going to leave that link down below, but she does these boyfriend bookmarks, and this one is of Daniel from Part of Your World. It's my favorite bookmark. I leave it on my shelves with the stack of my favorite romances, and I have a few of these, and she's got so many. So if you have a favorite book boyfriend from a romance, check out her store because she's bound to have it. And I do think she takes requests, or you can say if she gets enough people saying they want a certain character, she'll do them. So love Daniel. Again, I have a cat crying in the background. That is what he does. He's looking for a treat, so just ignore him. And then I have a couple classics here because my family tends to buy me gorgeous classics. And this one is the Complete Grimm's Fairy Tales, and I've never seen this edition. I have a leather bound edition of this, but this one is even prettier. I don't even think the camera will do the details on this one justice. I might have to take a picture for Bookstagram and put that on there if you want to see it, but it's got the gold foiling, the patterns on here. It's so much about nature. You wouldn't expect this to be Grimm's Fairy Tale, to be honest with you, because it's so bright and cheery, but there's the spine, gorgeous. I'll show you the end pages as well. Just a pattern here, very pretty, and of course there are illustrations throughout. And I love any book that comes with a ribbon bookmark, so that's very much appreciated. This is stunning and such a nice surprise because I've never seen this edition. And one of my favorite stories is Beauty and the Beast, and I've never seen this edition either. This is gorgeous. This is, let me see if I can even see what the publisher of this one is. I'm not sure. I think that my mom just got this on Amazon, but Kala Editions it says. So there are pictures in here. It reads more like a children's book. Let me see, great illustrations, but I just love how beautiful this cover is, and it looks great on my shelves. So as you know, I am reading the Memoirs of Lady Trent series with a couple other booktube friends, and that has really piqued my interest in more dragon stories, real dragons. The take in that series is a little bit different. So one that was recommended to me is this series from Naomi Novik, and I found these books for a really good price, and I don't mind these mass market paperbacks in this series. So the first one is His Majesty's Dragon, and I actually think that these are the perfect size because I don't think the books in the normal form are actually that long, so they work for mass market. Then the second one is Throne of Jade, and the last one is Black Powder War. And I have read one book by Naomi Novik in the past, and that is Uprooted, and I hated it. But honestly, I know I just showed this Beauty and the Beast edition, but I often hate the retellings, and that one just did not work for me at all. But I did love her writing, so I'm so open to reading and loving this series. I could see myself reading these on the beach this summer, and mass market paperback is perfect for that. But I actually really like having these in this box set. And if you have read this, I'd love to know your thoughts on it because I think it's an older series and people don't talk about it as much anymore. I then used a gift card for 2 new releases, and this one is Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. I talk about this book a few times on my channel, and yeah, this book is huge, and I actually have an ALC of this. I just didn't get to it on time, but I will definitely do an immersion reading of this where I listen to the audiobook and read along with this because I think that'll help me get through it quicker. But I've been hearing this compared to X-Men or Stranger Things, and I know that it follows children who have magical powers and they're being chased by a smoke man or something, and it's historical fantasy, which is a genre I've been wanting to explore more, so I'm very much open to this. And I know I've been avoiding bigger books, but I think I can do this, and because I have the audiobook, I am very open to it, and it does sound fantastic, and it's actually really a beautiful book. I love that shiny cover there. And then the other new release that I picked up, of course, was Wrath Goddess Sing. This is by Maya Dean, and this is my most anticipated book of June, and it is a Trojan War retelling, a Greek myth retelling, where Achilles is a trans woman, and I've been hearing some fantastic things about this. Look at the spine on here. So I'm hoping that I love this and that maybe this gets some more hype because I haven't been seeing it around too much, but people who have read it are loving it, and it says the gods wanted blood, she fought for love. So beautiful book, really excited about that. Falling back in love with Greek myths. Then I have a couple multi-generational family sagas because Pachinko reminded me how much I love that. Anything that's in that similar vein where we're following families over many years, I love. So I've had 2 that were recommended to me, and this one is Peach Blossom Spring by Melissa Fu, and I know that this was a book of the month pick, but we don't get book of the month here in Canada. It actually, LibreFemme sent me an ALC of this, so again I can do an immersion reading of this. And it says a moving debut novel, and you know I love a good debut, about war, migration, and the power of telling stories that follows 3 generations of a Chinese family on their search to find a place called home. So sounds fantastic. I have a good feeling about that. And then actually this next one, I don't think it's multi-generational. It's just following one character through many years, and I've heard fantastic things, and I actually have an ALC of this one from Libro as well. And this is 4 Treasures of the Sky. And I know that this is a debut, and it's set against the backdrop of the Chinese Exclusion Act, which I was not that familiar with. And it's about a Chinese girl fighting to claim her place in the 1880s American West. And I've heard it's fantastic. So again, I'll do an immersion reading of that. And yeah, I've heard it's really heartbreaking but beautiful, so looking forward to that one. Then I have a book that is so out of my comfort zone, but I think I will be buddy reading this with some fellow booktubers, so that'll be helpful. And this is Malice by John Gwynne, another bigger book. I do not read high fantasy, epic fantasy. That is just not something that I've ever really tried. And everybody seems to love John Gwynne, and I want to fall in love with this genre. I want to at least give it a try. I can't say I don't like it until I have really tried it, so we'll see. And how many pages is this? It's 600 pages. It looks bigger than it actually is, but I'm always in awe of people who can just fly through these big chunky fantasy novels. And I think there's 4 books in this series, but you know that this is the year where I embrace my series reading. So this is the Faithful and the Fallen series, and I know that John Gwynne has that The Hunger of the Gods, The Shadow of the Gods series that everybody's reading right now as well, so I hope that I love this. And then this next one I actually found for $5 at Indigo here in Canada, and it's by one of my favorite authors, and this is Gods of Jade and Shadow by Sylvia Marina Garcia, who wrote Mexican Gothic, which I loved, and I know a lot of people have conflicting feelings about that one. And then Certain Dark Things is one of the most unique vampire stories I've ever read. And I know that this one is inspired by Mexican folklore, and it says, the Mayan god of death sends a young woman on a harrowing, life-changing journey in this dark fairy tale inspired Mexican folklore. So many of my buzzwords in there. I love a good fairy tale retelling, and this cover is just stunning. And it's Sylvia Marina Garcia, so I have a good feeling about it. Again, not too long. And then I got this thriller from my best friend, and I've never heard of it. The Girls Are Also Nice Here by Laurie Elizabeth Flynn. And I have a feeling he bought me this. He wants me to read it so then I can lend it to him because he reads thrillers. And all I know is that this is about childhood friends. It says best friends never forget. And I think it's, yeah, alternating between the reunion and Am's freshman year. It's a shocking novel about the brutal things girls will do to take what they think they are owed, and what happens when games we play when we are young become matters of life and death. So that could be interesting, a good poolside read. I'll get to it soon so I can lend it to him. I'm not a huge celebrity memoir reader, but there are some that I'm drawn to, and obviously I needed to pick up We Were Dreamers by Simu Liu, and actually we went to the same university at the same time, but I never met him, sadly. But I had a little read through this. I was just skimming through it to see if I could find his college years, and he talks about our university, and it's the University of Western Ontario for any fellow Canadians, and it's just the things he talks about, it brings me right back. So I'm curious to hear more of his story, his childhood, and how he became a part of the Marvel universe. But really his university years are really intriguing to me. But I have a feeling he probably narrates the audiobook, so I will have to download that as well. And I just needed this for my shelves because I adore him. And actually, it's somewhere, I should grab it. I don't know where I put that now, but I did get Finding Me by Viola Davis, and another one I want to listen to, and I've been hearing good things about that one. Then I finally picked up Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell, and this is one I need to read because I know I'm gonna love it. I have a feeling it's gonna be an all-time favorite. It's like a sci-fi romance, and I think there's a lot of politics in here, and it says a chilling account of a dark past wrapped in a warm blanket of a promising future. So that sounds exactly like my vibe, and I know that this author is releasing another book, either in the series or a companion novel or something. It says one match can light up an empire, so I need to read this. It sounds perfect for me. Then I grabbed this because it is all over Instagram and I got it for a good deal. This is Cover Story by Susan Rigetti, and all I know is that this is like a con woman, and if you tell me books about a con woman, I'm likely to pick it up. Again, another good poolside read, and my neighbor will love this once I read it. Sometimes I always think, okay, what books can I read that I can then lend to my neighbor, because I love to talk about books with her, and I think that this is a good one for that. And then part of my 12 challenge, you know, the challenge that was kind of viral at the beginning of the year, one of the books that was recommended to me was The Bone Charmer by Brianna Shields, which I'd never heard about before, but it really intrigued me, and I'm so glad that that person recommended this to me because it would never have been on my radar at all. And it says fate is predictable, choice is not. Let's see, I didn't even look under the dust jacket, nothing under there, but it says tomorrow my future will be decided by my dead grand's finger bones. It's how my world has been determined, with bones and blood and snapping flames. So yeah, that sounds really good. A kind of magic that feels both traditional and fresh. So yep, I'm looking forward to that, and I've kind of been neglecting my 12 challenge, so I need to get on that. Okay, so two more, and I had to pick up Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. This was longlisted for the Booker Prize and then shortlisted for the Women's Prize, and everybody seems to love it. And I've been curious about Maggie Shipstead for a while, so we'll give this one a go. The writing's smaller than I was expecting, but I have a really, really good feeling about this. And I want to get back into books like this because this is really where my heart is. These are really the books that I love. And then I was gifted this book, and it is The Cat I Never Named, a true story of love, war, and survival. And this is a memoir, and I believe that our author was born in Bosnia in the 90s, or she was a teen in the 90s. And this cat, who was a calico, and I had a calico cat who passed away and I just adored. So I believe that is why my mom bought me this. If there's a calico on the cover, I want to read it. But I think that this cat ends up saving this family a few times, and I have a feeling this is going to break my heart. And it's won an award and everything, so yeah, I definitely want to read that. I love books about cats. So it's in the rubble of a war, one girl finds hope. So I think that'll be heartbreaking and moving, and I hope the cat's okay. That's always my fear with these things, but such a sweet story, I think. So those are the books that I have acquired recently, and I'm very, very excited about all of them. I would love to know which ones you think I should prioritize first. I'm leaning towards some of the more summery stuff. I'm actually thinking I might try Ordinary Monsters soon, just because it's a newer release, and I do have a ALC of that one, but we will see. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks again for all your support. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.